So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ghulam Mustafa here from HR Legends Forum. We have a very unique and very experienced guest with us today, Miss Sabine Caliskan. She has joined us from Austria, and we have like 4 hours time difference with Austria, but as compared to Pakistan. But we are very much thankful to Sabine for joining us for this one-on-one webinar on the uniqueness discovery of Sabine. Actually, this is the story of Sabine, how she faced different challenges in her life. As a female, she faced more challenges as compared to male, but still she managed to control and remain successful in her life by facing all those challenges. So we are very much thankful to Sabine for joining us in today's webinar. Before I start the webinar, I would like to introduce you Sabine and her short profile. Sabine, do you allow me if I can
Yeah, of course.
introduce you?
Thank you for the invitation, Mustafa. Of course, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, quickly, I will give a short introduction. Sabine is basically a management consultant. She's a trainer with more than 20 years experience in different areas of management, leadership development, HR, and organizational development. She has been keynote speaker and consultant for organizational transformation, unconscious bias, and an expert in leadership development. Her key areas include behavioral design, from failure to learning, culture, and leadership in the future. In 2020, her organization has been awarded from HR Tech Outlook among the top 20 companies in the top European leadership development community uh, in company category. So overall, you can say she has more than 20 years experience. She has worked in different countries, in Germany, in Austria, in UK, in America, and she has trained several people across the globe. So this is just a brief intro. Otherwise, Sabine has done a lot of work. She has mostly worked with top executives, chief executives, CIOs, CTOs, and general managers of the organization in organizational transformation. So thank you very much again, Sabine, for joining me today and for giving us your time. So now I request you please start telling us about you, the challenges which you face in your life, and how you handled them and how you managed to overcome them.
Thank you, Mustafa, for the invitation. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it was a quick invitation and totally unexpected. So I thought I'd tell right away from my life and how I started to explore my uniqueness. And actually, to get my dream job, I had really some tough and painful experiences. So, and it even started during my youth, and I guess everybody can connect to that. I received not helpful messages from my surroundings and also from my mother, such as what you imagine is not realistic, or be glad when you have a secure job. And or she said, even better, find a job where you cannot be terminated. So this was her main messages. And then she said, then you have set for life and don't need to worry about anything. So it was absolutely terrible for me when I was 16 years old. Imagine a 16-year-old girl dreaming of studying with all the ideas of making the world a better place. So this was actually me, and it's still me. So it was clear.
Wow.
So somehow it was clear to me that in this environment, I would not be able to make my dreams come true. So my parents had successfully made it clear to me that studying would mean living at home for another 8 years at least. And that through their good contacts and as a high school graduate, they said they have a good opportunity to bring me in a governmental position with high possibility to being tenured. So this is I don't know if it's in other countries as well, but you become a civil employer. And at that time, I wasn't as determined as I'm today. So I promised my mother at least to take this entry exam. And unfortunately, I passed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you are right now explaining us about your early childhood and
No,
the
it was,
days when you
yeah,
were actually
exactly, but I guess it's,
finding and exploring yourself.
yes, but actually I thought I will tell you how I shifted, how it happened that I could step out and discover my own uniqueness, my real strength, and live in a working environment which fits to my personality. So as I unfortunately passed the test, so um, I started working in this government area, and soon I was earning my own money, and shortly I could move out. So yeah, and actually it was not the dream of a job, and I was busy as a young person moving out and with other things. So, and my mother's hope also came true. So my employment contract was turned into a civil servant contract. So I can really imagine that most parents would like their child to be well looked after and protected. So my father, who always did what he enjoyed himself, was then also very happy that his little girl was protected. You mentioned at the beginning. Actually, I guess my father would have forced my brother to do what he loves, but with the girls, he was like more protecting mode. Yeah, and today I know that neither of them was aware that doing a job without sense and meaning, so this was not in the knowledge of my parents, uh, and makes everyone unhappy and on the long term also sick. So it turned out different for me. One day, the position of the head of education became vacant, and I thought, that's mine. That's exactly me. I love training new employees and conveying content and taking care about newcomers and apprentice. And it wasn't just my impression that I'm really good at that. So it was also that a leader of this department asked me to take over all the newcomers, and as she saw my passion and my talent for it. So yeah, and for the first time as an adult, and I guess this was the first time when I remember back, I asked myself, what kind of work do I really enjoy, and what really
Okay.
suits me, and what I'm particularly good at that others may not so well, and vice versa. And what is my ideal workplace? What motivates me to get up in the morning and be engaged? So it was clear to me, this is what I want, and this fits to my strength and to my personality. But now comes the turnaround. I decided to apply internally, but instead of the expected interview to come, they made fun of my application. So, and it wasn't about me as a person, but about my naive thinking as a young civil servant that I could get a position where others have been lining up for years. So, I don't know if you know how it is in the governmental area. There are a lot
Yes,
of,
it's very difficult. I think it's not that easy,
yeah, no,
especially.
essentially they're doing people doing jobs because they are doing it, they don't love it, and they are just waiting, lining up for a certain period of time to get their promotion, but it's
True,
not
true.
about their talent. So
Exactly.
for me this was the shocking moment, and the job was given to someone who was not even suitable or qualified, and above all had no joy or any heart for this position. And actually very sad, but at that time I thought that this is unfair and frustrating, and I don't want to be in an organization or a company or environment, and I couldn't stay any day longer. So next day I gave my resignation without
Mhm.
notice to the secretary, and my parents were shocked, you can imagine maybe. And
Yeah.
as although I was already grown up, but still she couldn't believe that I gave up my civil rights in this governmental organization, and my father was a little bit more relaxed. Um, but after all, he knew that his girl had a plan in mind, and he knew me that if my heart is towards something, I will succeed. But still, it was my mother was really desperate. She was shocked, and she was even more shocked that when she learned that I have resigned without having another job. But when I look back now, it may have been a little short-sighted from the outside, but as a young person, we allow ourselves to be guided by our heart more often than be guided by our program do's and don'ts. Yeah. So somehow I couldn't, and I guess it was also the best decision to do it that way, because if I would not have done it in that radical way, maybe the worries of my mother would have me made rethink, and I would not be stepping out to this. So now was the turn back to me, and I wanted to show my parents and my environment that it's worth listening to your own heart and what it's telling you. So I wasn't ready to give up my dream of that job that would be the perfect fit for me. So I knew that I have to do something about it, and I was ready. So whatever it costs. So I was really ready. And I took my time. I went through all my strength again. I made a plan, and I made a list of all the things that gave me great pleasure. And then I discovered, and I guess this was the discovery, what really changed a lot in my life. I discovered a sentence in a book, but I can't remember the book. I just remember the sentence, which changed everything for me. It was, to be yourself in a world that constantly wants to make you different is the greatest success of all. And actually I discovered how to find out what really suits me. Eventually I realized that it became also so clear to me, and I remember from our HR summit, the discussion with this one lady, I realized at that moment that most of the day I spent in my workplace. So at least 8 hours a day. And at least I should spend the majority of my lifetime in a job that makes me happy. So because the rest of the time is for traveling from to and from home, and then you have some housework, you have some errands, you have to eat, you have to sleep. So it became somehow clear to me, if I fail to find a job which makes me happy and suits to me, it will not only make me unhappy and sick, but I will waste my life. So this became so clear to me in that moment. So how should I continue maybe the turnaround? I discovered how to overcome the limiting beliefs in my head.
And so what do you think when you learned to overcome the fears in your mind? So what do you think, what are the 2-3 major learnings you had, how we can overcome fears? How should we train ourselves, our personality to overcome fear, especially, as a females have more fears as men, because overall, not only wherever you go, male are always dominating the society, the culture and values and everything. So how would you like to guide to other female? How should we control our fears, and how should we manage in such situations, especially because how you manage so great, so excellent, and I'm so glad to see the power you had. So can you please help others to learn about it as well?
Of course, I can share my discoveries, what came clear to me. And I guess this fear is not only a woman topic. I'm sure men also have fear, but they are better in pretending.
They are controlled.
Yes, so I guess the fear is everywhere, because I guess most of the people had these similar surroundings and parents and these messages in what they are telling you, and you have these voices in your head. And I guess when everybody goes back to their youth and this period when they were 16, 17, 18, they might have dreams. I'm sure everybody had dreams. And I guess for me, it was like my first discovery was that when I remembered back what really counts for me, what really makes me happy, and I really worked on it. And when it also became so clear to me that if I don't find a job what makes me happy and is senseful, then it's really a waste of my time, and we only have this one life. So when this became clear to me, the next revelation to me was that these limiting beliefs in my head, I have to stop listening to them. I have to start listening to my heart, because my heart is always in the here and now, and my thoughts are always in the past and in the future. So our thoughts are always fearful about the future, but the thoughts are only can look back to the past, or from the stories and the beliefs somebody else told us. And so when I try to stop, to make the voice in the head quiet, to make it more quiet and listen more to your heart, then, and when you fully committed to do something and follow your own heart, then there comes a force in yourself and a strength, and it makes you want to bloom. And then you are willing to go the extra mile, and then it fills you with joy and dissatisfaction. And when you have these two steps, the woman will glow, and then everybody will see it, and this strength will come inside, and this force to also, which will become visible for others. And what I also discovered from myself is that I also discovered that I should not wait for others to take care of my potential and my inner well-being and my happiness. And because I realized that maybe I had these attitudes and mindset from all these beautiful princess fairy tales. But honestly, only I can listen to my heart and adjust my life accordingly. So I guess this would be my main message to all the ladies, but also to the men, because this fear is not ours. It's the voice in the head who comes from someone else. It's not, most of the time, it's not our fear. And when we really listen to our heart, there is a power in us which really changes. Changes your own glowing, and when you are authentic, people feel that you're their authenticity. It's not when some people are talking and expressing how great they are, and it's not what comes from the heart. People feel it. We feel when somebody is real, and we feel when somebody is not real. So for me, the big win I got out from this discovery was that I'm on the driver's seat of my life, and I have to choose my employer. I have to change the organization, the workplace I want to work, and this was my starting point. That I start when I then had interviews. It was so different, because I was so clear what questions to ask. I looked different to this job advertisement. At that time, I really I was not nervous at all in the interview settings, because I had nothing to lose. I could only win. So for me, it was more that I was evaluating the organization. I was evaluating if the job fits to me. Is that really what fits to my uniqueness, to my strength? And I prepared my questions well, and guess what? The reaction were amazing. And this came also so clear to me, because during the last years, when I worked with so many leaders and CEOs and organizational executives, they were starting to complain that applicants do not ask any questions. And it seems that they don't even know what job they are applying. And actually, and be honest, who wants such an employee? I do
No
not.
one.
No one. But still, most people behave like that. They behave that they have to fit in and adapt. But actually, everybody loves authentic people who have this hunger and this passion for something. And yeah,
So
so
how do you think how can we maintain our passion?
because sometimes in the beginning of doing something we are very much passionate, but after some period our passion starts going down. What do you advise? How can we keep? Because I know whenever I talk to you, whenever we interact, I always find you passionate doing something. I learn something new from you. So how do you manage to do that, and how can we, like me or other people who can watch your video later on, how can they take benefit? How should we maintain our passion?
So maybe you remember from our last meeting that I'm a very fan of natural science. So I believe
Yeah.
we can learn a lot from nature and
Okay.
and also from our human body. So um, there is a saying that the body, the whole body, re become totally new within a 7 years rhythm. Are you familiar with that? So it's not
No,
that
I'm sorry.
everything changes within 7 years. The hairs are changing faster and the nails and some parts are changing slower. But there is a general term that approximately 7 years we are completely new. We renewed almost all parts. And this is for me transformation. So there,
Oh,
it's not that you decide once and then that's it. We are constantly changing. So the nature is constantly changing. Our body is constantly changing, and our mind is constantly changing. So with every talk, even when we talk now, as you said, you learn something. I also learn something. So whenever we are not the same person as 5 minutes before, and and to be and we should be aware of this rhythm of the nature and what does and our own rhythm. And when you do a certain job and it becomes a pattern and you start stacking and then you are become unhappy, most of the time it means that uh, you have not adapted your environment to your heart. So I guess there is. Do you know Ray Dalio? He's the managing
uh,
director of the world's most successful investment fund, and he says that the happiest people are those who discover their own nature and then adapt their lives to it.
okay.
So, so, uh, and the most happy people, they change a lot. They reinvent themselves on a regular basis. And this is how we evolve, how we transform, and how life is, and how the nature is also. So uh, when I look back to my whole career, I would say, in average, I changed almost all 7 years. Also, my direction, my insights, and I never had an insight and then I worked on it, or even in my career when I was a consultant and had my own organization, I, I I involve and transform my organization daily. It's not that
Wow.
there is found something once and then you apply it for the rest of your life. This is not what makes us happy. We want to discover new, we want to learn new, we want to experience. And it's not that you have to change the job all the time, or the organization. I guess an organization who knows how the nature of humans are, knows that people need space to grow and space to bloom. And when you have the space, I remember I had a great employer, and it was really great working for him. And he was uh, he said at the last day when I left that he was so thankful and surprised that I stayed that long, because he thought I would only stay for 2 years, uh, because he saw my passion and that I can do so much more. And he was so clever and so wise that he gave me the freedom. He opened up the space and he knew that if he would limit me, I would leave. And he understood my nature, and he understood obviously also the nature of humans, and that's
So,
why it was a great pleasure working with him.
So one way to maintain and keep passion in implies is to give them freedom and give them innovation and the opportunity to do something new. This is what I learned from your this conversation. And the second thing, which can keep people passionate, I think, is that they should connect themselves with nature. And if the nature is changing, they should also bring that change in themselves, and that can keep them passionate.
Yes, yes. In general, I would say yes. You understood it as I wanted to express, but at the same time, it's not that freedom means do what you want. There are goals definitely, but I guess that the key is that leaders have to understand what is their uniqueness of their people, because then you can put them in the right place
True.
when you know their uniqueness. What I see so many times, and what will be also the topic of our podium's discussion later on, is that we focus so much on training and developing people, and we've always focused on the weaknesses, on the deficits. But actually, that's when you focus on the latest science, also from neuroscience, then it makes no sense, because when you focus on developing your strength, you will grow faster than when trying to improve your weaknesses. And there is also some studies behind, because they said it may require somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 hours of deliberating practice to really rewire your brain and turn a weakness into a strength. So I would not waste the lifetime of myself or of other people's in investing, because we should invest in what really makes a difference. And when people are in the right place according to their uniqueness, then this power and this engagement, and because it's in there is no person in the whole planet, as far as I know, who doesn't want to bloom. They all
True.
want to give their best.
Agreed.
And yeah, so my main message is, do not waste your lifetime. Invest in what really makes a difference, and bloom.
But mostly people they feel it difficult to unlearn because or forget something. Sometimes we have some good experience in our life, so sometimes we have bad experience in our life, and we don't want to forget it or unlearn this, and that keeps us away from success. So, what do you
Yeah,
advise for that situations?
yeah, you're totally right, because we are all these human creatures of our habits, and 95% of all our daily decisions, they don't even reach our consciousness. And in average, 70% of our daily thoughts are identical to those of yesterday. And even more than 40% of our behavior is repeated every day. So, yes, we are very, very much locked in our habits. But when you start, but the first step, I guess, there is also a lovely saying from John Maxwell. He said, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. So you have to start with small, 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 small changes. And as I said before, when you start listening to your heart and stop listening to your thoughts, the power within you will come, and then you will have the power also to change your habits when you have a good plan. So I guess it's not like these New Year's wishes. You say this year I will do this and that. It's not like that. It's you have to make a good plan. You say this is what I am, this is what my heart wants, and then you have to look at your current life and your current habits, and then you take out small things every day, very small little pieces, and then you say, okay, today I will focus more on this, and or this week or this month. And there is also some other studies, you might also know them, that Some say it's 21 days, become a new habit. Some say 66 days, and some even talk about 90 days to become a new habit till it becomes automatic. And I guess it's also every person is different in this aspect, and also every habit is more stronger bounded to our brain, or some are easier to change. But the secret and the key to it is every day, small, very small steps towards your goal. I don't know any successful person who has done it in a different way.
I think this is really a very good tip and very good advice. I'm very much thankful to you. We are approaching to the end time of this webinar with you. So I just would like to thank you. And I must say that we need to have an hour or 2 hours long webinar with you to understand how you discovered yourself. This 40 minutes time is not enough for this purpose, or 30 minutes time is not suitable for this purpose. So all I would like to say is thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and the discovery journey with us. If you
Thank you very
would
much
like
for the
to
invitation.
add something else at the end, you may add.
I guess my most favorite and lovely quote, which is the foundation of me, I guess, it's: when a flower doesn't bloom, fix the environment, not the flower.
Wow, excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Sabine, for your
Thank you
time.
for the invitation, Mustafa.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.